We must devote at least as much to our children's education and the health of the poor as we do to the care of our automobiles and the building of beautiful, impressive hotels.
We are on a mission here at the YWCA to eliminate racism and empower women. Part of eliminating racism is advocating. Part of being empowering is to educate.
But the women they serve aren't who you'd expect.
We have a elderly population of women who are not necessarily your typical homeless person or what someone would have as a person that would be. These are women who have worked all their lives, but they haven't made enough to pay rent or continue the mortgage and pay for medicine.
And sometimes the woman in need looks a lot like the woman running the shelter.
I was unhoused at one time. Came from the military background, came here, $178, 3 kids, and I was staying with family members. I wasn't in need of shelter, but I just was sheltering with family members. So that can look like anybody, even myself. Yeah. But I always worked. I have a pretty extensive work background. But I mean, in the moment, because it's a moment in time, homelessness is not something that's forever for most people.
The YWCA is one of the only shelters in central Indiana that won't turn people away for their past.
We take in those who are, and we'll take in anybody as long as they do not have a sexual crime against a child. So they can have a felony, they can be drug addicted, we're transitioning from prison. So anyone that is as long as they're not on the sexual registry.
For a woman walking through the door for the first time, the process starts immediately.
The first few hours are spent on giving her a change of clothes, because everyone that comes in here, we have them change their clothes so we can heat treat the clothes just to cut down on the bed bug issue. Then she is provided with all of her hygiene products, provided with a bed. She's talking to a case manager and giving her information, because we have to make sure that they're actually homeless and not fleeing from somewhere, so we do have to do a background check.
And the work doesn't stop, ever.
We're 24 hours, 7 days a week. We never shut down. It varies from day to day because our people vary. So sometimes it's smooth sailing, and sometimes we have an increase in those who have mental health issues or may have drug addictions, and so it can vary as to what that looks like. We have had fights. We've had to use Narcan. it just varies on who we have in here, from time to time, moment to moment sometimes.
What are the moments where this building actively works against what you're trying to do, where the space itself becomes a barrier to safety or dignity for the women here?
The dignity, I mean, if you just look behind you, there's peeling in the walls. It's very hot in here. We don't have access to central air. So we have window air conditioners, so you can move from room to room or spot to spot, and you're cool now and you're hot later. That type of thing. We do not like that you come through the same door that the women have to come through. There's no separate entrance, so everyone knows if they're staying here, they're staying here. Yeah, it's not very dignified at all.
That single entrance isn't just a design flaw. Tracina considers it a safety risk.
It can. I mean, it absolutely can. Because we don't have and that prevents us from really being able to take someone who's in active fleeing from domestic violence, because it's one entrance and you can see everything and there's no parameter around us to stop people from knowing who's here.
And the funding doesn't match the need.
The first 45 days are paid for. After that, we might have an additional built-in 2 weeks. We eat that cost. Then there's a second stage housing program as to where if they have to stay for months, the trustees will either pay for them if they do not have a job or income, or they pay it themselves to that income.
However, not every woman who needs help can be taken in. It's a hard conversation to have.
We refer them to other places for shorter terms, and sometimes during that short-term stay that they can provide them there, we have an opening, hopefully, when they call back.
The work takes a toll, but it also leaves a mark.
Is there a particular success story that keeps you going through the difficult days? Maybe someone who came through and is now living a life she never thought was possible?
We had a lady who came in, and she was in a We-Ones program at the prison, and her baby came here. Her baby was probably about a week old. She's housed now, doing very well, has a job. And when I saw the baby again, probably 6 months after she left here, the baby turned her whole head around and she recognized my voice. And so that let me know that we had made a connection there with her, and she brought the baby back to see us as well. Yeah.
If you could sit down with every voter in Delaware County for 5 minutes, what would you want them to understand about what's going on inside this place?
I would want them to understand that we are trying to transition people back into the community, and we do need a more affordable housing. The housing is unrealistically high right now. It does not serve our community well because the money is not matching the amount that they want people to pay. So either bring some more equitable jobs here or bring down the cost of the housing. Yeah.
If someone watching this documentary could only do one thing after this, what would you want that one thing to be?
Continue to advocate for those in their community that are unhoused, because whether they have a house or not, keep in mind they're still your neighbor. Yeah.
That call is being answered. Last week, at the time of filming, the organization took the biggest step in its history and closed on the purchase of the future home of their new facility. We spoke with Dr. Keisha Warren-Gordon, who was eager to share the details.
As board chair, what keeps you up at night about the future of this organization?
In the immediate, most recently, what has kept me up at night is that we just bought a building. We closed on Garfield Park Elementary last Friday. And, that's 2 buildings. So that's a building that we have to renovate. And do we have the funds to do that? And we also have a building that we have to maintain. So balancing that and ensuring that all the funds are in place and that we are able to continue operating at the same time that we're doing this massive rehaul of this elementary school that we're so excited about.
Running a shelter on donations and grants means every dollar has to fight for itself.
So a lot of our money comes from donors. We rely very heavily on donors. We do write grants. We have a phenomenal team of individuals who are in the office and their whole job is fundraising and grants. And then we do get some money from the government. But with federal dollars, there are certain restrictions in terms of who you're housing, how long you house them, that sort of thing.
And the people writing the checks don't always understand what the money is for.
They just don't know. They don't understand that we are a low barrier shelter that works to support her. They don't understand our total mission, which is to eliminate racism and empower women. It's our responsibility, and as the board chair, it really falls on me and the rest of the board to tell our story. So are we telling our story? Are we making sure that the people who we come into contact with on a daily basis know her? And when I say her, I'm talking about any of those women who receive services through us. Do they know her story? A woman who, through circumstances usually out of her control, has ended up being unhoused.
Nonprofits serving vulnerable populations burn through staff. How do you think about recruiting and retaining people for work that's emotionally demanding at the pay the sector offers?
That is something that we deal with all the time. We all know that they're not earning as much as they should. We all know that this is a demanding job. So what other ways can we show them that they're appreciated? One of the things that I've been working with our board with for this year is implementing kudo cards, where we donate gift cards, and when employees are doing well, or maybe they're not doing well, maybe they're having a hard day and they need a lift because of the emotional strain of the job, that the supervisors can give out the kudo cards, the $25 gift cards. For some people, that $25 is a half a tank of gas. Well, it used to be. It's not right now. But it's a lunch. It's it may be some groceries for their kids. It may be it may be some gas. So trying to do things like that, recognizing when people need time off, making sure that when I walk in the door and they call me Dr. Keisha. I don't know if you heard that over there, but they call me Dr. Keisha, that they know that Dr. Keisha's here not to check over you, but to give you a hug and say, I appreciate you, and you're doing a phenomenal job, and I see you, I hear you, and I support you. It is required for us to rethink some things in terms of who we take. Because we are a low barrier shelter, there are certain things that are certain policies that are in place for other shelters that aren't in place for us. But with that being said, you can't be a threat to yourself, you can't be a threat to others, you can't use drugs, all of those things are in place. But what it does is it requires us to extend out more. So, do we have mental health professionals available? Are we serving as a liaison to mental health resources at a rate higher than what we probably were doing 20, 25 years ago? So that means for our staff, there's more training in the area of mental health. There's more training in the area of trauma-informed care, those sorts of things. So it really requires us to do more with the little that we have, but we make it work.
And every January, the count begins.
Okay, so the point in time count happens every January, and then it happens again, I believe, in the summer. And the whole point of it is to count how many people in your community are unhoused at that one point in day. And then that determines how much HUD money we get to support unhoused people in our community. And that is important because those federal dollars help us keep the doors open, and it helps us support the women and the children in our organization, but also the Muncie Mission and other organizations that support unhoused individuals. And so the problem with it is that how do you really determine the number of people in one day? How do you find those people? How do you get them to acknowledge that they're unhoused? And then, to do it in the Midwest in the middle of January, that's often the coldest part of the year.
But behind every grant application and every count is the same goal. See her.
You bring students like us into spaces like this as part of our coursework. What do you want us to walk away understanding by the end of this that we can't learn from a textbook?
Okay, so I'm not going to cry. I want you to see the humanity in people. I want you to see that this could be your mother, this could be your sister, this could be your cousin. And just by the grace of God, it's not your family. Or maybe it is your family and you just haven't, shared that. But I want you to see the humanity, and I want you to see that just with a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, you can contribute to solving a problem. It doesn't have to always be about the big picture of problem solving. We're going to eradicate all of homelessness in Muncie. No, but maybe it can be about helping one person. Maybe it could be about, I've got an extra $20 and I know that this organization needs that. So why don't I become a donor and, give them $20 a month? Just that sort of thing, that your efforts, your work can go a long way. And then also connecting it back to, criminal justice. If we can eradicate housing insecurities, then I am crying. If we can help eliminate housing insecurity, then we can also make women and children safer because they're not out in vulnerable spaces. We can, and that child could be the future president. That child could be, the future, college professor. That child could be the future person in your class. So just trying to draw those human connections is what has always been at the heart of all of my classes.
And when they leave, the story doesn't end.
Every woman deserves a chance to have a happily ever after. And we are the first chapter of their book of the happily ever after. And that's what it is, because the story doesn't end there, right? It doesn't, because just because you get a house or an apartment doesn't mean that life is going to be great and you're not going to have challenges. You're going to continue to have challenges. You're going to continue to have struggles. But if we can give you that first chapter or the first 5 paragraphs of that chapter, that's going to make it so easy to continue to write the story, because that's one less thing that you have to worry about. So that's what it should be for all women and children.
If this documentary reaches someone with the power to change one policy or fund one thing, what do you hope they walk away wanting to do?
I hope that they would walk away wanting to write a check that will allow for organizations like the YWCA of Central Indiana to not have to worry about the minor things. And when I say minor things, they're things that may seem minor, but they cost so much. So for example, I was walking across campus today and I was really happy. And I was happy because the weather is nice. So what does that mean? That means that we don't have to utilize our boilers. And that means that now we don't have to worry about if our boilers break down, that we have to go out of our budget, our estimated budget, and hire somebody to bring a part from Germany, to have a part sent over from Germany that's going to probably cost us $5,000 that we'll have to figure out where that's going to come from. So those little things that are the things that I hope we don't have to worry about, that we don't have to worry about whether or not we're going to keep the lights on because we had to pay the boiler fees. Well, we got to keep the lights on and we've got to get the boiler fixed. Support us so that we don't have to worry about that. That's what I would want them to do.
But even with those challenges, the vision for what comes next is clear.
I would love to see Garfield become not just a building for unhoused women and children, but I would also like for it to become a central hub for all things industry and that part of Muncie that, if you want to have a meeting, you can have it at the Y. If you want to have a birthday party, you can have it at the Y. If you need after-school resources for your child because they're struggling, you can come over to the Y. That's what I would like to see that building be. I don't know that we're going to have the money to be able to do all of that. And that does worry me. But, I think in time and just knowing the people of Muncie, knowing the people of Central Indiana, I believe that they'll come through for us.